it's all part of the video.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's just talk about the run real quick before we start. All right. So this is a low tad of Dustforce any percent new game plus, so that the common any percent category with as few jumps as possible.
Beat all 75 levels in any order, basically.
Yep. So it's a low tad, meaning that first of all, it's not well optimized for speed. Most of the levels you'll see, like, we just don't very much care about the speed. Half of the replays are actually like real-time replays done by people. And a lot of the Nexus movement is kind of just done, but we're out here to save jumps. We're not out here to save time, really.
If it takes 8 minutes and saves one jump, we have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But like also if your run is an extra 20-30 seconds, then it's not a huge deal. But yeah, and we tried to use real-time replays as much as we could just to kind of show off the people that have done something for the category. Yeah. But I had to replace a few either for character switch reasons or for jump
things
saving
taking
reasons.
a long time, or well, if it saved jumps, like if there's something that was task only and save jumps, we did it.
Yeah, obviously.
But also if it was like a run that had like
an extra 2 minutes of sitting around,
yeah, like 2 minutes of like twirlies or something, then we would replace that with a task because we don't want to make you sit here for 2 minutes.
All right. I think that's about it. We can talk about the rest as we go. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, you ready?
Let me hold on. I need to set up my YouTube in a way to where I can. Okay, let me pop out Twitch chat. That's what I'll do.
Yep.
I want to see chat.
I'm probably not gonna super duper interact with chat entirely, but I'll like respond to some stuff that's important. But I'm not gonna just fucking.
There's like a question that reminds us of something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna banter with Twitch chat basically the whole time.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's dust.
All right. So the thing about this category is that you can't jump, right? Obviously, so you need to gain height however you can, and obviously the most common ways are climbing up walls and dashing back at them, twirling up them. Yeah.
We'll explain twirlies in a bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about those.
Whenever you climb over a wall, one important thing is you get kind of like a boost over that wall, which gives you a bit of height, which is used everywhere.
I'm gonna turn down my game a little bit.
Oh, we jumped.
Yeah,
and we jumped
so
again.
You see that geometry right there? You have sort of like this overhanging lip of a ceiling, and that's actually one of the hardest things to get around in this category.
If you don't have a super or an enemy nearby, you're usually out of luck.
And usually you need more than just one enemy, other than this new tech we found. But a character that's not Dustworth takes 4 hits of hit rise to actually get around that corner. Dustworth only takes 3. But it's actually really tricky to get around those, and you'll see us go at like huge lengths just to do so. Audio's really low. I can turn it up a little bit. I think it's most important that you can hear me and Fish, and it was kind of loud for me.
Dustforce music also gets really loud at some points too.
It's the audio should be good in the original thing if you just want to hear Dustforce stuff.
Yeah.
So
anyway, combat, if you're familiar with combat any percent, you can do a special super farm route that skips having to climb up most of the levels. We do that.
So yeah, as Fish said, like you use the climb over ledges mechanic a lot actually, just to gain enough height to get over certain things. There's actually just a ton of ways to gain a little bit of height, and that's actually why I think this category is good. Okay, so here we do twirlies. So twirling is just like a sub-perfect thing where you can infinitely climb over up a wall, and it's used a lot, but surprisingly, it's not like it saves a lot of. Yeah, it saves a lot of jumps, but it doesn't break as much as you might think.
Okay. So anyway, advance. There's a lot of jumps because there's not a lot to work
with.
But
here's a new tech that we found relatively recently. So you'll kind of, So Dustman kind of, it looked like he almost jumped around the corner a little bit. I mean, Fish can kind of explain the details, but we actually found that kind of recently.
Whenever you're like brush your head up against the ceiling and you get hit rise for something, you kind of store it into a ceiling. But if you're moving at really low speeds, it gives you way more hit rise than you're supposed to get.
Yeah. So instead of needing 4 hits of hit rise to get around the corner, you just need 1. And it's actually kind of funny. We found that somewhat recently, and it's because I had a replay that had it when I was grinding Vacant Lot, like literally 3 years ago when I was trying to get top 10 Vacant Lot with Girl. And I was like, yo, Bird, Mojo, do you have any idea what this is or like how this works? It could save jumps. And they just kind of ignored me. And then I brought it up again to Fish like a year ago, and we were like, wait, It just
This is
saves.
broken. Yeah.
This just saves a handful of jumps in the whole route and time.
So now we're into levels where they're kind of boring. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward not to jump. That's kind of
Although,
cool, actually. I forgot about that.
yeah. Next we have shaded though, and sadly we somehow have to jump because this is
This
just
geometry, it's another
so
lip
bad.
basically.
Yeah.
It's another lip. Like there's no supers, no enemies. There's nothing.
yeah,
you
you
can
have
work
just relatively low resources, so you have to jump there. We have some ideas eventually that might be able to say something, but we really can't figure anything out right now.
I tried.
Yeah.
But I couldn't.
So it's gonna be relatively boring for a quick bit. So like, talk about low jump. I think low jump is actually a really interesting category to route, even more so than a lot of the other categories. Just because I think, so like if you compare it to like low dash, right? Not to say like anything against low dash. I mean, Joel's done a lot
say
of good work.
something against Dash, please.
All right, but like the thing is, you don't really need to dash in this game. Is sort of the thing, right? So it's kind of laggy, but whatever. I uploaded the original video, so it won't be too bad.
Yeah.
But low dash, you don't really need to dash to beat the game, so it's really easy to route. And then on the other hand, you have stuff like you have like low input, low attack, stuff like that, and those categories kind of remove your options, so it's not like you have a lot of clever ideas you can use. It's just really kind of
Moving
it's
slow
yeah,
for the sake of moving slow.
right. It's
By the
on the
way,
opposite. Yeah.
We went to mansion now. We're bored of forest.
Yeah. We'll come back to forest later.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll be back.
world record pace mansion.
Yeah.
Emoji.
This is.
That's the Callistus.
Shout out to Callistus for sure.
Yeah, a lot of this is actually straight human replays.
Yeah. This one's a human replay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think low jump just gives this really good mix of you have so many tools to gain a tiny bit of height, and jumping is so like integral to beating some of the levels.
And there's a lot of routing with like, oh, we can use a super here to save a jump, but what if we could find out how to do that without using the super,
Yeah, so we
and
use
use
a
the
super
super
later.
later to save a jump somewhere else? Stuff like that. It's really
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh yeah,
Alright,
sorry
so
about
we
the
had to
geek out
jump-
stuff. Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
have to jump to get to upper mansion.
Yeah, we have to jump to get to Upper Mansion, so that kind of means we have to do all of Upper Mansion in one take because we'd have to jump to get back up here.
Yeah.
So we had to route around that, and yeah, that was a part of the fun of this run was having to route Nexus movement too.
Yeah. Because the Nexus is actually kind of tricky to navigate around, and
Yeah, there's a
you
lot
can
of
jump a
like
lot if you-
one-way things where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you have to use one jump to get up here, and like we actually found out later in the run that we couldn't escape Core Temple without jumping.
Actually, we probably could, but I
We
didn't
probably
want to put the
could've,
time into,
But
so I
yeah.
just went back. Also, quick shout out to Wayward. You'll see Wayward did 2 of these replays. Besides me and Fish, Wayward probably has the most replays in this run. He actually put a lot of work into getting better clean runs at the start of when low jumps
Yeah,
start.
He
like,
did.
again.
He did them all real time. He
Yeah.
grinded them out in real time. And
Yeah.
I know Bird did a lot of tasks back in the day too.
as well.
for,
Yeah.
like-
So big thanks to him.
yeah.
So the biggest contributors, I mean, probably first me, then Fish. I've been working on this category for forever.
Yeah. You did.
Wayward has done a lot of work.
Bird's
A lot
done
of
work.
Ite quietly did a lot of replays, especially for SS early on. So kind of maybe a surprise name there. You'll see Inda pop a few times, and MSG helped with a lot of I guess Apple stuff at the beginning when people weren't familiar with that. There you
And
see
Mojo.
Wayward letting go of the ceiling and then using super hit rise to re-grab it and go in the other direction, and then you could use the curvature of the
That's why he
ceiling
was
to get
forming a
height.
super.
Yeah, so curvature of ceilings is actually really interesting. You can use it to kind of lift yourself off the ground, even without having to grab it.
Use twirlies to get up here to the higher part of mansion.
You'll see an Ite replay here. But yeah, so big thanks to all these people who helped out. This category is like my baby, so it's nice to have help every now and then, because I can't pay child support.
Hate to see it. Yeah. A lot of these upcoming levels are super interesting. They're pretty
Yeah.
linear, but it's about to get real spicy real fast.
We gotta do some stuff basically.
Yeah.
Oh, Ite
Wait, he
does that
went for
super.
the super?
Yeah,
It tastes sick.
of course he is. Don't worry about my Nexus movement; it's flawless. Oh, here's, I think, the only replay by Twinkie, actually. Twinkie did some work for this also, really early on. But yeah, the category kind of started out in, was it 2014? It was when Dust Kid first started.
Yeah,
and
that's when
MSG
Dust
added,
Kid started popping.
Yeah, well, MSG added the leaderboard for it. Interest kind of came, and a lot of work was put in. You can actually SS Nighthall without jumping, but you farm super like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, you can farm indefinitely off a Night Shield, so that's what we're doing here to get another super.
Yep.
There's
Ramparts
a lot of
is
super
pretty
farming.
interesting.
Oh
So,
yeah, Ramparts.
Ramparts is a pretty sick route.
Yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't lag too much. So you'll see at the start,
Nice boost.
big wall, nice twirlies.
Yeah.
So actually some history. I think Ramparts was, I think it was 2 jumps, but it was 2 jumps real time, which is relatively impressive. And then we knew that it could be down to 1 with a twirly, or with twirlies you saw earlier on. And then, so remember the hit rise storage thing, that actually saves the final jump in this, and you'll see it at the end of the level.
Yeah. And we're farming super right now because we're about to get punched a lot.
I don't, yeah, Kim asking if when you farm super, when you hit that knight, if you get hit rise, like the first 4 light attacks on Heaven Prism, I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think we actually use that hit rise idea anywhere in this.
No, it doesn't help anywhere, unfortunately.
You use it
helps
in CMP.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps a ton in CMP.
I don't think there will be any human replays for jumpless Ramparts.
There's...
You could twirly to save 1, but the hit rise storage is...
Hit rise storage is not human viable,
precise.
IMO. You can maybe do it, but...
Yeah, but you would have to...
What I know of it, and the inputs that it requires, I'm gonna say it's probably not human viable.
Like, you could try it over and over again until you get it, but it wouldn't be pretty.
You also have to...
You didn't need to super there fresh, but might as well. It's not a huge deal, just to make sure. Because you're going to need super here anyways for the hit rise storage. So you'll see this lip right here is very hard to get around otherwise. Or
actually impossible to get around.
Probably.
Yeah, it's impossible to get around that, as far as we know, without that super storage.
Then we actually can't get to the end here until we get super. So
yeah,
we gotta wait for this guy.
Super. So we have to wait for this guy to waddle over and beat him up.
Yep. Again, not everything is super optimized. As Fresh pointed out, we didn't necessarily need super earlier on, but we just wanted to get it kind of done, you know, so the easiest way possible.
And that's Ramparts and 0 jumps.
Yep.
So
pretty solid. Here's Ite with the...
Okay, this run's actually godlike.
Yeah, I don't know. This is better than I can do.
Oh my god.
Relatively...
Alright, so this climb is... Oh wait, no,
we're not doing this yet. Yeah, so we're going into Moon Temple. Yeah. So Moon... it was an SS.
Yeah, it's an SS.
I actually don't think I could get a faster any %, so I didn't replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to explain this twirly fuckery?
So if you're right underneath a sloped ceiling and you wall climb without, like, you do a neutral wall climb, so you start a wall climb, then immediately release up, you'll get like an extended wall run, and that lets you kind of float up sloped ceilings. It's really weird.
Yeah, it gives you just enough height to do a lot of things. Oh yeah, so about the names for a lot of these people, if you don't recognize a name, it's probably me or Fish. I recorded a lot of these over different days, so we each have like 500 names over the course of this run.
Big guy is me.
Yeah.
Alright, we need a super to cross this gap, so that's what some of that farming was for.
Yeah, so a big thing also that kind of kills some like levels or hurts some levels is that you stick to floors, right? You can't detach a floor without having it end, really.
Yeah,
except for some social situations, right? So that's actually one of the issues with Shaded Grove. You just can't get off the floor to grab the ceiling instead. So
this level coming up, this is a good one.
This is something I worked on to route a lot. So there's a lot of lips in Observatory. We have to jump quite a few times, but
like,
you're gonna
like these spikes right here, absolutely impossible to get past without jumping, as far as we know. Like
you just can't gain that much height. Yeah, you can't gain that much height without jumping. So you'll notice that I'm collecting a lot of the dust. You may not know this, but you can actually get a super in observatory before the end. And we're actually going to do that to save one jump. But you need to spread dust very specifically. So you're going to see a lot of like awkward movement just to put dust in the exact right place.
Isn't it like one dust of leniency too?
No, it's exactly 100.
Oh, amazing. Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then I can come over here and super the end from underneath to save a jump. Because otherwise you can't get around. You could with hit rise storage, but obviously that needs a super.
I mean, you have a super anyway, so it's faster.
Yep.
Alright, so do you guys like apples?
Yeah. This is
as bad as it gets probably in this run.
It's up there for sure. Thankfully, with hit rise storage, we can save like 2 minutes.
Hit rise storage on this level saved 3 minutes of apple juggling, so you can thank me. Alright, so we needed an apple just across that gap, so...
That's it. Literally
that's all that we needed apple for, but we'll get more apple action. You
need hit rise storage later, so the real-time run had to juggle the apple all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But we managed to save that. So that's a case where we replace the replay where it doesn't actually save time.
Yeah. But it's 3 minutes of just popping an apple, so worth.
So we're almost done with mansion.
Yeah, we got like 4 mansion levels left, I think.
Yeah, so just to give you guys some stats, I guess. Well, actually, I'll talk about it after we do tower.
Yeah, talk about it after.
But yeah. Actually, you know what? I can give some general stats that might be interesting. So, of all the ILs, 60 of them are done with 0 jumps.
Yeah.
Out of how many levels are there? 75? Yeah. So 75, only 15 levels require jumps.
Here's hit rise storage, by the way.
Yeah, here's hit rise storage.
This is what's you needed an apple to get over here before, but hit rise storage saves 3 minutes of juggling an apple. So you're welcome.
I don't know if Bird gave the RTA IL total, but the IL total in this, well, actually, I shouldn't say. We'll just say
not yet.
Yeah, but I'll give you a bunch of stats towards the end, and I'll include the spreadsheet in the description of the video. Here's another Ite replay. Fun fact: you can actually SS caverns.
Yeah, in 0.
In 0 without an apple. I came up with a route for this a long time ago as Dust Kid. It was pretty fun, actually. Let's see. What comes after caverns? Is this the climb too? Oh, hey. Can you break your game a little more so you can save a few more jumps?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Alright, so here's the basically what Fish was describing in Moon Temple, and you'll see us use this basically to climb all the way up the tower without jumping.
Yeah.
We thought we might have to jump for this, but
yeah, you just spin into a wall enough and you can do whatever you want without jumping, basically. But yeah, this is incredibly precise. Like, this is not even a little bit viable for humans.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of frame perfect, like, there's extended ceiling slides too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that have to be done, like, frame perfectly, and twirlies everywhere that have to be done first try. There's probably, like, 30-ish frame perfect inputs in that sequence right there.
Yeah, it's not it. Here's tower. So I remember actually very early on, I think Wayward showed me a replay and he was like, hey, I got tower in 4 jumps. And he did the any % route. And then I looked at the level and I said, what if you just go all the way around and only do it in 2? And he was like, damn. And well, we've improved it since then a little bit, and you'll actually see us doing it in 0 in a sec, even without the assistance of the apple.
No apple needed. Just get over there.
Yep. Although it's tricky for humans to get up that wall without jumping.
Also the twirlies at the start.
Yep. So you see, we actually did tower in 0. We need a slight boost to get to parapets actually, which so I do.
We actually needed this boost.
Yeah.
Like, I tried it in TAS and you needed that boost.
Those twirlies TAS? Yeah, they were. And then here is another long apple juggle. Worth is actually close to saving a jump here, but you just can't make it in a boost. So it would be the same number of jumps, I believe, and Worth apple juggling is really hard.
Yeah.
So okay, so now here's, I guess, a good time to mention. So the only 2 levels that require jumps in Mansion are actually Parapets and Observatory, and they take 5 and 4.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a recurring theme, I think. Most hubs only have a couple levels that require jumps. This is gonna be quite long, so...
Yeah, if you don't know, apples in this game, they give you hit rise whenever you hit them, and they also move around, and you can use that to create a flying machine. So...
Absolutely.
In this level, if you know about parapets, and this makes sense, but parapets is like a bunch of random blocks, and it's like really vertical too.
Large gaps that you can't cross.
Yeah, so it's very much worth it to go to the left to get this apple, and then explore through the level without jumping ever again.
Good job to MSG, actually. This is actually a really old replay. This is one of the earliest low jumps that was done. There was a lot of good stuff to come out of, like, very early on in low jump, but we've since improved a lot of them. But this is something that's still here. So
you
I guess
see a part of the level there.
Quick mention of I guess SS. SS is also somewhat interesting, but it's like a lot of it is just any percent, but more effort. So for example, for parapets, it would be the exact same route, except you have to bring the apple through the level and just get all the dust.
Yeah.
So.
And also dropping combo is a concern a lot of the time in SS.
So here's why we went to Mansion, because we don't want to.
This is why we did Mansion first. So yeah, we're at Ancient Garden now. That's how you get to Ancient Garden. Only technically one jump, because you need one jump to get that high up in Mansion. Right. But it gets us to the rest of Mansion, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, if you're curious why how he knew where to land, MSG actually talked about it a little bit before, but he looks at the combo count, I think, and the timer to get a judge of how far he's moved in each direction, and so roughly knows how far to go. We can get up to, once you get to Ancient Garden, getting up to Night Temple with
Night Temple is easy. You can do that real time.
So here's another route that I did quite a long time ago, real time, in an extra jump, I think. But I used task to basically save 1 with a Jorf.
This is another example of a lip. Like, there's no way to get past this.
Right, we don't have a super, and we can't farm for 1. Most of this is actually real time. I just have a task Jorf later. And you have to jump here again.
Yeah. No avoiding that jump either. We've tried.
Yep.
There's no apple in the Nexus.
There is...
That would break Nexus movement.
Yeah. There is a jump that I theoretically thought we could save here. And Worth can actually do it. But I couldn't get it to work with Kid. You'll see at the top of this, there's this part with spikes on one side of the wall. And you have to jump to the other end. And you can almost get enough hit rise to get to the other side. But you need to move. You have to manipulate the turkey really high to get it, and it just kind of doesn't work.
Doesn't it come down to worse, bigger attack hitboxes? Like, isn't that the thing?
Pretty much. Yeah, I have to wait for a cycle there to make this, and then I Jorf there. That's the only real task thing in this route. The rest of it I've done real time actually. Oh, Worth can do that, but he loses jumps everywhere else. So it's actually 1 extra jump with Worth.
Yeah, this is the best route we found. We're not saying like Worth was better. It was just like a theory that we
Worth saves 1 jump in one place, but loses jumps elsewhere.
Yeah, he loses jumps elsewhere.
Here's actually another. Well, this isn't that. There's a couple things, right? There's an extended ceiling slide right here. There's a. So I don't think we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But if you stop holding up on a ceiling on certain frames, you'll actually keep sliding as if the ceiling is still there, and you'll see that right now.
Basically, whenever you go into the ceiling friction state, if you release up at that point, you'll start doing a extended ceiling slide, which basically puts you in a it puts you in a ceiling slide, but you're on a ceiling that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like the ceiling extends further, but it's not. But so you can go higher past where the ceiling ends. Yeah. And then we need to just enough dust to get across this, because we need a super.
Farming dust to get across this gap with a super. I believe Bird actually had a task of this that used an apple to hover over the level, but we found this route and it's way faster. So it's more interesting too. Like, apple juggling is kind of old.
Yeah, you guys are real optimistic. I used 100 as clickbait, and it's not too far off that, I guess. Not to spoil too much, but it's there are a lot of jumps in Yada. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Alright. It was hard.
So Ascent is actually much easier than you'd think. You can actually do it in 1 jump without any tool assisted stuff, and you can do it in 0 with 1 task or 1 twirly. And a lot of people have done that, but it was faster to just make a task.
I believe JM has done this in Zero.
I think I have one too, but it's like 10 minutes of me.
Yeah, there's like 2-3 minutes of twirlies, and we kind of wanted to cut that out. So shout outs to JM for doing this, but for the sake of time, we tasked it. I feel like it was you. I think it was you, pretty sure.
I think it was me, actually.
Alright. I don't know. Shout out to JM either way.
I've given my blood, sweat, and tears to this category. I hate twirling, and I'm very bad at it, but I've done it for a few of the levels. You can actually make it through this, I think, without jumping. I think the jump you need is here. And
oh wait, yeah,
you need to jump here. Because you used the super for the previous one, and you can't make it up that without a jump. So...
Yeah, like, you would think with Ascent, like, oh, it's Ascent, it's an upward level. Of course you need to jump a bunch, but there's so many walls you can just swirl you up, and it's pretty free.
Here's another replay by Ite. So yeah, the end of Forest is coming up more or less, I believe. One of the hardest things in Forest, actually, you'll see is at the very end. It's the Nexus movement to get up to Firefly.
Oh yeah, it took Bob like 2 hours, poor guy.
It's because Fish wouldn't help me, even though he already had done it.
Low key, I had done it before, but...
And I had to do it again anyways. So like, all of the recording, almost all of the Nexus movement besides the one to Tower, I think I took care of. And then I did all the editing. Editing actually took a long time. I guess I should mention that. So this is all spliced together. And because of the way music fades in and out, it actually bleeds into the level. So I actually had to record it with only sound effects and then splice in all the songs. So all this is me editing it in.
Oh yeah, there's a clip there. If you don't know real time for this game, that's a pretty normal strat. There's broken geometry there, and if you just spam jump or spam dash, you can climb through it and pull through the level.
So I know of you can actually do this level S completion in one jump, real time. I haven't read of this. But if you just grab the apple, you can just kind of
do it in zero. In general, if you can reach an apple, you should never have to jump ever again in the level.
Correct.
Yeah, this is tasks like pretty obviously because its control of apple is pretty difficult. It's probably doable, but
yeah, I can see this being done, but it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah,
because you can actually do this without jumping. You can use a super to get across this by dashing all the way to the left and all the way back to the right. But it's just faster to use the apple, pretty sure. But yeah, in theory, I think you can SS this level without jumping. It's kind of tricky to get to the apple without dropping combo, but I think you could do it with some task movement. And then here is rooms, and that's rooms, and also 0 jumps.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Yep. And then wild.
This is a Wayward run. Yeah,
yep,
this is a Wayward run.
Oh, it's a little laggy, but oh well.
Not really. Or maybe on your stream.
It is on my stream, just because I'm trying to stream this.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
It's kind of funny when I was doing this. Whenever I was like, I would have to record the Nexus movement and pick a character. And I'm like, I don't know what the next character is going to be, but I know Wayward did it, so it's probably girl.
Alright,
and this is...
so that's how we get the Firefly in 0. That light attack actually mattered.
I could not make it without that light attack. You can probably do it without one,
but
the way I set it up, but the way I set it up, that light attack actually gives you just enough height to make it up. So I don't, we didn't explain this either, I guess, but when you're moving upwards and you light attack, you gain just a tiny bit more height. I mean, like, literal singular units.
1 or 2 pixels,
Yeah, like... Oh yeah, and that was also an extended ceiling slide.
Yeah, that was an extended ceiling slide. That actually beats left friction too. I don't think this is the time or place to complain about left friction. It's a mechanic. Ask about it later if you don't know about it.
It's suffering basically.
Yeah, it's awful. But yeah, whenever you do an extended ceiling slide, the game thinks you're still on a ceiling, so there is no left friction. So it's way faster to do that, but it also gets you way more height than just floating in the air. So
and we're almost out of forest, so here's tunnels. Tunnels, we used to have to jump, but So twirlies were actually discovered well after low jump was a thing, and it kind of really, for a while low jump was primarily a RTA thing, because task tools were pretty, I don't want to say bad, but they were primitive.
Yeah, they were primitive.
when low jump began. So people didn't really want to test.
Yeah, this is one of the tasks that's made with the primitive tools, so...
Yeah, so it's kind of a little less pretty, but... But yeah, as a result, like, twirlies didn't really have a huge effect early on, because people didn't really... Like, they couldn't do them, and they didn't really want to test it. But they were known to, you know, save a fair few jumps. You can actually assess the rest of the level without the apple in one jump, but...
Yeah, this route could be improved with tunnel skip, probably. Probably. I don't know if you... Tunnel skip is a pretty new thing. For
you definitely can. You could get through, you could leave the apple, and then you could hit right storage.
Yeah. Believe it or not, though, there's like a route where using an apple is actually faster in a level in Dustforce now, and use it to hover out of bounds at the beginning of this level and skip a bunch of movement.
Can you guys hear Fish over this, by the way? It's really loud for me, so I just want to make sure you can kind of hear him.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything, Jordan.
Yeah, it's alright. I just want to make sure. Because it's mad loud, dude.
Yeah. Hitting apples is loud.
Alright. Yeah, I could try turning it down maybe when there's a lot of appling.
I don't think... Is there much more apples for the rest of the round?
Not too much, so... I'll just lower the stream a little bit. There's a little bit in some of the levels because I don't want to name them.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think Skyhawk was Skyhawk the first season? It was... I thought that was something that Raven looked at. Some of the most obscure strats in this game can be attributed to Raven, actually.
Yeah. Raven found a bunch of stuff, and it was all found like 6 years ago.
I think Raven actually found this too.
Yeah,
this
death warp. Shout out to
it's not very well known, but you can death warp there, and it's not faster. But I mean, it's not that hard to come up with.
Real time.
Yeah, it's not that hard to come up with, obviously. But I think Raven was probably one of the first person that knew about that. First people that knew about that. Yeah. Like Raven came up with the basically the Wild Den route, right? The current Wild Den route. He came up with Landfill Clip, I believe, with MSG.
He theorized tunnel skip too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a finicky death warp.
Yeah, the reason why we did the death warp though is because the normal 90% route of going over the top of the level, you need jumps for that. So go through the level instead.
So that's forest, but we can't get over that lip, so we gotta do this again.
Back up to mansion we go through the zip.
Oh, I'm super duper lagging a little bit.
No, that's the video.
Oh really?
Encoding
overload, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry about that. My computer's not super hot, so encoding overloaded a bit during some of this. We have Daytime Mansion actually. I forgot about that. I had to record specifically using Daytime Mansion. Because yeah,
Daytime Mansion happens whenever you miss a fog trigger.
Yeah, so a lot of the triggers in this game, like this is not really related, but a lot of the triggers are based on the camera position, not the character position. But it's only some of them, which is kind of funny. So if the camera like doesn't go through a trigger, but the character does, you actually don't get the effects of the trigger. I think the only one that's not affected by that might be text.
I don't know.
I could be wrong about that, but almost all of them are affected only by the camera position. Anyways, so library is rather, I mean, boring as usual.
Yeah. We still have this level and Courtyard left in Mansion, and we'll be done with Forest and Mansion. We went about them in kind of a roundabout order, but we only had to use one jump in a Nexus to do this, and if you think about, like, Ancient Garden and getting up to Upper Mansion, this is the best we could do.
Oh, so I know you can wait for the camera to adjust, but one, it looks cooler, and I get to use Elvish Fiber Academy more, which means less editing for me. And two, after I did the Nexus movement to get to the next level, I already recorded it, and re-recording the task movements was actually kind of tricky for me because I didn't actually back up the character's position and all of that, so I kind of did it in a one-go type deal for some of them, so I didn't want to re-record that. It just saved me effort. Basically, that's a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. It's a low dad, it's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, we took kind of a roundabout path to get super so that we could get over yet another lip.
Yep. Well, not
Right
yeah,
here?
yeah, and then we.
It's kind of a lip.
side. Yeah, pretty much. It's we can't get up there basically. And then the rest of the level is rather straightforward. Ite has a SS of this, but we kind of replaced it just because it's a little bit faster not to, and yeah.
It's kind of weird having like an SS run in the middle of.
Yeah, other than like storeroom or like
I mean, storeroom's just kind of natural. Like it just kind of happens.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
So you'll
courtyard.
like I know we're not mentioning it a lot, but like there's so many minor things with like just using climbing over ledges, especially that like you just gain a tiny bit of height here and there, and like I mean it's kind of natural for us at this point. Like for example, right here you climb over that ledge to grab onto that wall, do that there. It's
do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very just. That was one of the earliest things we found in like low jump to be super useful.
So now we're in city.
Yeah, you could actually just twirly up the left wall, but I mean, this is a real time done by Wayward way back, probably before twirlies even existed. So we just go up the right wall and use these guys to get up. Yeah, ledge climb adds up. Ledge climb probably saves the most jumps out of anything in this game, but obviously it's so minor and so like it's so necessary that it's not really worth mentioning as like a separate tech.
Yeah, a lot of early mentions pretty free, but whatever hub this is.
Nice dash.
Yeah, it's pretty free generally though. Oh, thank you.
So let me look at some stats. Yeah, so far we have 26 jumps, but actually 10 of them were in tutorials just because of advanced. But yeah, so city, I mean, the start is pretty free. There's a couple interesting things, I guess. For example, Inda uses the older clip, I guess, for landfill, any percent.
Yeah. Well, you can't actually do the new route, the new clip route. You can't do that without jumping. So.
Well, yeah, but like, a lot of people, if they haven't seen this before, might not even know that that's a route.
Yeah, that was actually,
yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
You have to wait a little bit for hideout. You'll see why.
You'll see.
It's quite interesting. What else? So yeah, car park is pretty standard. Development uses something a little bit interesting, and we're also doing this.
Oh yeah, development's cool.
We're also using this level order so we can kind of just get around, because we can't actually jump up there. So you'll see me use a ramp actually in a sec to.
How did that heavy hit? What? It tastes so good. But yeah, you can use this slope to get us up. Whenever you dash off of a slope like that, you get popped off of it, so you can use that to get some height.
Oh yeah, so talking about characters, if you have to jump, typically we use Dustforce a lot. But if you can save a lot of jumps, typically you use Kid. There's almost no reason ever to use man or girl, except for Zeta, for kind of obvious reasons, I guess.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is like if you have to jump a bunch guaranteed and you need to get like a bunch of height.
So for example, Yada climb, you're obviously
Yada climb. You need to play Yada because if you play Kid or something, it's going to be like 3 times your jumps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention that. That's what I meant was interesting in development. That's actually the Easter egg area to get to the apple, but you can kind of just go to the side and heavy the end instead. Right. Here's Hexerman's only replay because
this is an IL world record.
Oh, huge!
Very good.
Good job.
Good job, Lotad. You leveled up after that one.
Yep. All right.
Well, on his way to be a Lombre.
So now that we're on world record pace, city, we're just gonna leave after this.
Yep. No more city.
Yeah, city's I mean more or less done at this point, so we don't have to stay here.
You don't have to finish it.
Kind of clever by Wayward to like stay off the wall and get that turkey because you can't actually reach it on the ground.
Yeah, we're done with city.
Yep. See ya.
It took too many jumps to do this, and it wasn't very interesting, so we're just done with it.
Yeah. We theorized saving this using hit rise storage, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that blob doesn't get a high enough cycle.
Yeah, and Worth would need 3 lights to get enough height to get up, and you need 1 to move it upwards. So
if that's probably one of the jumps in a run that would surprise me least if it was saved. It's real close, but we couldn't manage it.
There are a few jumps we think that could be saved, but we'll
talk about them later.
Yeah, there's quite a few in Yada Climb just from better optimization. Yeah, but
there's some sub-pixel stuff going on. It's weird.
Here's another Apple adventure with a mystery.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one.
We theoretically could have saved some time, but it wouldn't be too much by using some of the newer stuff that we found. But yeah, we might as well show this off. Since this was in our real time, it's pretty impressive.
Well,
Yeah, it's quite close. Yeah, big shout outs to MSG for giving us Dust Kid and everything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, this wouldn't be possible without it.
This like
this whole project.
all of this would not. Yeah, all this would not be possible. So
Yeah,
we
like
have task tools. So
the input display at the bottom right actually is entirely his doing. Shout outs to him also. Shout outs to Lifeform.
that's the Lifeform.
But yeah, you can see the jump or see when we jump at the bottom right. The jump is the third icon, I think. It actually lies to you once in the run. It says we jump in tunnels, but we actually don't, and you can check the replay for that.
Yeah, it's due to the way that
it's a bug.
replay composer works. It's weird. Don't worry.
So don't worry about that. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
we need this apple. It's coming up in a second.
We need this example for exactly one jump up ahead.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yep.
We're almost there.
Alright.
There.
Gotta get hit real quick. Gotta get hit again. Alright.
Oh. This is a low tat.
Gotta get hit
again. Oh, again? Oh! He's getting beat up.
That's is real hard.
Yeah,
in more ways than one.
Yeah. We consider doing this in tasks, but it's like wouldn't be that much time saved, so why not?
Yeah. Oh man, my computer is not actually that good. I wish I got a new computer before recording this, but I wanted to get this out as soon as possible, just because we've been working on it for so long.
Maybe we can have like director's cut.
A lot of hours have been put into this.
Oh yeah.
Come into server room, nothing special. You can basically no jump it for any percent. Waird's got a pretty clean run. So.
It's actually pretty clean. I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is actually nice. Yeah, we skipped Ferrofluid because we're climbing back up this way anyway, so we're coming to do it now. I was confused about that at first. I thought you like legit forgot it.
No,
like,
it's just slightly better.
Oh yeah, there is kind of a clever thing, like you expose a ledge there so that you can boost over it using the climb. That just shows like how useful that tech is.
Much. So Titan, again, it's a big. There are a few maps with a lot of jumps. Yes.
One of them's coming up very soon.
60 of the levels are jumpless. And then think about how many jumps that requires the last 15 to use, basically. I will give stats at the end about basically the average jumps for levels. Actually, I can probably say that right now.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll save it.
Yeah, save it.
But if you look at the average jumps for a level, the average jumps for a level that requires a jump, it's kind of a big number, basically.
Yeah. It's pretty rare for a level to take just one jump. Like, there's 2 levels that take 1, I think. And then there's a few that take, like, 6 or 8. So, not 8, but a lot.
Please, I apologize if you're offended by my usernames. I forgot I was,
It's fine. It's fine.
Forgot I was recording that day.
It's fine.
Yeah. So I need some dust here, just to super. I actually technically probably don't need it, but it saves a little bit of effort and time. Waiting for this blob cycle. Some dust. Dude, my ending is fire here. You seen this shit? Dude?
Yeah, I saw it. This is pretty cool, actually.
I'm so good.
Sick.
Oh my god.
So
so here's an interesting-ish one. Research was one for a while because we couldn't figure out how to get over a ledge, but we found hit rise storage, and that actually gets around one of the jumps. But then MSG showed us that we overlooked something simple that you could actually get around the jump with instead of using hit rise storage.
I don't know what that was about.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is flawless. What's the most interesting level for this? I would say the most impressive ones, in my opinion, are Concrete Temple and Core Temple.
Core Temple's the coolest, I know.
I think Core Temple's really good. Yeah, this level's, I mean, relatively easy to SS2, actually, after you've done the any percent.
I think, ironically, the most PogChamps I've seen in chat so far was for getting up the Firefly in 0.
I mean, it is pretty, know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, to be fair. Alright, so
Satellite...
this level sucks. I hate this.
This is so stupid. You need 2 jumps for Satellite. Yeah. Who designed this level?
Yeah, because you have to get up there, and there's no way you can do that without a jump. And then this right here is so incredibly close in like 4 different ways to skipping this jump.
But we
couldn't figure it out. Yeah, I think I got Mojo to work on this too, and he couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, so that's just when you go. Oh, I actually did this entirely real time because I needed to do it with Kid, and no one had a Kid replay, so I just recorded me doing it. Thank God it didn't look that bad. It's bad, but
it's fun.
Yeah, you'll see some badness later from me. Alright, so here's how we get to wiring.
Wiring in 0, yeah.
Yep.
Whoa.
Alright.
Oh.
So wiring actually is also very interesting. I came up with a Kid route that requires 1 jump way back, and we couldn't improve it for the longest time. But then I came back to look at it somewhat recently, and I remember that Dustforce gets more hit rise off of supers than any other character, and you'll see where that kind of comes into play at the end. You would actually go through half of the level, get SS or get super, and then go back and do the any % route.
Yeah,
it was a crazy route. Gonna put Bird on blast here, but Bird came to me with a 3 jump replay, and I was literally like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Fucking
Alright,
check
so
this
the Step Warp is used to get higher, actually. Yeah. We needed to do that. It's pretty sick. But yeah, this is where Dustforce...
No one else can make that besides Dustforce.
Yeah. And then we do some crazy tech with twirlies.
Yep.
But one thing to mention is that one of the few ways to get off the 4 on the soft 4s is to use a super. It pops you off the 4, which is really important.
So if we had a super, we could actually get over, like, we could get out of shaded without jumping, but we obviously can't at the start, and you can't get to the apple. So wiring actually is 0 jumps now, which is quite good. So this was definitely... Getting a level from 1 to 0 is obviously much more satisfying than, you know, getting it from 2 to 1. Alright, I switched to Kid for movement here.
Alright, is this...
No, we do it on the way out. We do it on the way out.
Yeah, it's way out, yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about it during the level, but yeah, I drove off the top of those just to get through this without jumping. So...
Backup sucks.
Backup sucks. There's not a lot of stuff to talk about. It's just optimizing jump heights.
Yeah.
So... Alright, I'm surprised.
Light attacks?
Yeah, he's. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Yeah. All the light attacks we're doing are for Titan Dilation to get us a tiny bit higher. And if you notice, we sniped that blob over there to get a tiny bit higher, and that actually was barely enough to save a jump. We had to do that. So,
so after this level, you're gonna see me do something weird, and it's gonna look like actual magic. And as far as we know, it basically is.
It's basically magic, yeah.
It's gonna look like we're cheating, basically.
So how many jumps is back? Oh, we're not done yet.
There's still one but backup requires 14 jumps, which is literally 1/3 of what we've used so far.
Yeah. And there's hit right storage again to get over that wall without jumping, and then we just farm a bit more dust to super beam. Alright, and...
I'm gonna switch to Kid here. Alright.
Here's the magic.
So you can get over this spike obviously very easily here. Now watch this.
Well, how do you get past this? Well...
and I just dash over the spikes.
Yeah. So we don't really know how that works. It's subpixels or like something like that, but if you slide off of an upward slope like that and then dash at like an exact time, you just fly over it.
Right. And, you just don't touch it at all. We don't know why, we don't know how, but we can set it up sometimes. Okay, we couldn't dwarf off the top left because it was extremely hard to align. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a null dwarf, I think. I'm pretty sure
it was ridiculous. I'm sure, but it was hard to get there too. Because I think I would need to do it twice. So that is actually the newest tech we found. Fish calls it upcrapping. I guess I have to too.
It's not upcrapping, yeah. It's upcrapping.
Just live with it. But that actually saved almost 10 jumps, and we've only used it once so far, but you're gonna see it a bunch more later
Basically, we were like done with the run, and I was messing around at like 5 a.m. and I was like, I was messing around with it at like 5 a.m. I was like, I bet this is possible, and I messed around with it for like 10 minutes and it worked, and I was just like, well, we have to redo a lot of the run now. And ironically, it's really useful, but it doesn't really show up until endgame. That's just how it works out. so you'll see it more later.
It is something. Yeah, upcrapping is that thing we did just to dash up the slope and just not be on the spikes for some reason.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Phantom Slope stuff fresh. Yeah, I think it has to do with raycasting, so it's magic.
Again, the quality's like kind of but I'll upload the like actual outputted file. Should be.
Yeah, looks crisp to me.
Okay, well, we're just gonna do access now. You can SS access also. It's one of those levels.
Well, there's an apple right here. So.
Well, you can SS it without bringing the apple, but
I forgot the apple was down the remote key. But yeah, we need that to farm a super. So.
Yeah. Is the next level? Next level is Abyss, right?
Yeah, next level is Abyss.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. So I do Core Temple at the end of the run, because I was too lazy to figure out how to get back.
Yeah, you have to get out by using a jump. It's probably possible without it, but it was easier not to worry about it.
Yeah, so I could just end on it to not jump to escape.
Yeah, the route worked out, so it's fine.
Yeah, but you'll see. Also, I make no comment on what happens at the start of Abyss.
It's some pixel manipulation,
yeah,
don't worry.
I'm aligning something or other.
Yeah, something was definitely aligned, and it was not his brain.
I think you need to calm down, sir.
No. I gotta roast you for this.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything.
It's low TED, it's fine.
Yeah, something. I also had to do this real time just because we want Kid for this next movement. Alright, so here is possibly
the craziest part of the run by far.
If you are kind of familiar with the game, you'll know what we're doing here. But there's a death zone down to the right over there. And I'm now on the far right wall using twirlies to get back out.
Yeah, check out the input display. We're doing twirlies off camera right now. And so you might be wondering what that's for, and you'll see in just a second why we did that.
So there is a death zone there, and we actually quit out of that character select menu during when we were in the death zone. And when you do that, well, you'll see in a sec.
The magic happens.
You are unkillable by spikes and death zones. So we're now going back to city because we needed that.
Yeah, we needed invincibility, and that was the only place we could get it without jumps, as far as
Correct.
we know.
We could probably do it to the left of wiring, but it was much easier for me to do it to the right of Abyss. So
much easier. Fucking blind twirlies.
Yeah, this is like a minute-long Nexus movement, actually.
Yeah.
And now we're going back to city because we gotta finish city.
We'll go back to core later.
We'll go back to core at the end just because I didn't want to do the Nexus movement to get out because it's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
All right, and we're gonna skip these levels because this is the exact reason why we need this.
Yeah. So
to save
right here.
one jump.
Yep.
We are saving one jump right here by doing this.
Yep.
Actually, it might be two.
I think it's two, actually. I'm pretty sure it's two. Pretty sure
it's
two.
But now we go to Hideout. So Hideout is actually done in, I think, 5 now, right?
Yeah, 5, I believe.
Or is it 6?
5 or 6, one of those.
Well, yeah. So I have an RTA run with one more, but this is where upcrapping was found. You're going to see it again up ahead. And it's... Fish DM'd me this at like 4 in the morning. It was like...
Yeah, and I was like, alright, we gotta redo some levels. Right here.
Right here. And that's where this was found. And it saves one jump right there.
One jump right there. But yeah, the answer to the question, of how many jumps are in the Nexus, we'll answer that at the end.
Yes, correct. We'll give a bunch of stats at the end, and I'll probably post the link to the spreadsheet that that has all the stats. Yes. So this is I've actually done this. I've done this all real time. Besides the upcrap, I've actually done all of this real time. Yeah. So to avoid jumping in the middle of the level, we just go around the outside.
Yeah.
Very, very normal idea.
Lateral thinking.
Thinking outside the level.
The reason why we can do this too is because there's
a singular random clip on the far right of the level. God knows why that's there, but
let's get back in bounds so we can get around this part without jumping.
Right about here, and we're back in, and you can just barely make it. And there we go. Boom. And that's Hideout. Alright, now we're no longer invincible, unfortunately, but
Yeah, we lose invincibility, but we don't need it anymore, so it's fine.
Shout out to the single turncoat replay probably in this.
Yeah, this one's actually sick too. This is like
Pretty
up
clean.
there with storeroom. Like better than I could do any percent most of the time. I suck.
I don't do the movement yet to Clock Tower.
Yeah, not
It's
yet.
a pretty interesting movement in a bit. But the next couple levels. Oh yeah, scaffolding is.
Another apple eventually, right?
Yeah, it's very brief, but
Nice boost.
look, this is part of someone else's task. Actually,
Yeah,
I just cut it.
This is Bird. Boy and Bird.
This is Bird's task. I just replaced everything after the apple because it's easier to do a different way. I think he juggled the apple all the way from here to the end wall, but you can actually just I cut that part out and I was like, wait, you don't need to do any of that.
Yeah. Saves a bit of time.
You can just come down here and juggle it to this wall, and you're fine. The rest of the level
you don't
is
need to
pretty
jump past
easy.
this, and it's more interesting when it's flying over the level. And
Oh yeah, so something incredibly useful that comes up later is actually that we haven't explained is that the bottom left corner of your character doesn't have collision with spikes.
Yeah.
You'll see me use that right here. Actually, just I don't actually need to, but I do it right here to, you know, get back up the wall.
Dash off of that.
But that's used so much because you get to climb over things with spikes, which you normally can't do, and you get to gain an extra bit of height there.
You'll
yeah,
see
it's
it a
already
lot in difficulties.
Yeah,
you'll see it all a lot in
It is everywhere in the difficulties. Again, this level is relatively straightforward, but we go kind of a odd way around, long way around, just to find places where we can climb up. Let's see.
Is there anything coming up soon? Is Clock Tower next, or do we do?
Clock Tower is next.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yep. Don't worry about it.
Oh, this. Okay. Have we mentioned that tech yet?
Which?
Where you like?
Yeah.
Wall climb? Yeah.
So when you if you hold up, so let's say you have a wall and at the bottom are spikes like on the floor. If you hold up, you'll actually regain your air charges and climb back up the wall at the bottom. So what Wayward's doing there is he's getting enough fall speed to basically hit the floor and then regain his air charges to get across.
Yeah.
And then I switched to Worth here because Kid can barely not make this, or at least I couldn't make Kid make this.
Yeah.
This is
It
a
doesn't
cool
matter.
idea.
You need to jump either way. So yeah, we use that slope to give us a bit of height.
We go back
get
and
up
forth
from
to
one.
get a bunch of height. I actually use that in tunnels, I think, for SS, but it actually saves a jump there.
Yeah, it should also be noted, like, there's terminal velocity in this game, so you can't just get infinite height off the slopes.
Correct. I actually have, I think, max height there for Dustforce.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty close, so. Clock Tower, surprisingly, in 0 jumps is not that difficult. In 2.
Yeah,
The optimal jump count is not that difficult. You just do an extended ceiling slide at the start, and then do a jump to get around the corner. Someone DM me. No, please. I apologize. Okay, now here is the big one. This is possibly one of my favorites. Very early,
This is
so
one of my favorites for sure.
very early. It uses so much of the tech in this game. Very early on in the life of low jump, I came up with a real-time 3-jump run. Okay, hold on. Let me just mute Discord.
We're lining right now.
Yeah. So I came up with a 3-jump real-time run, which eventually became 2 with better trash can manipulation, and 1 with twirlies. And then finally, when we got hit rise storage, we got it down to 0. So we're actually going to do concrete and 0 jumps, which is kind of ridiculous if you look at the level. So first of all, we have just enough super here, or dust to get a super here, and we can get around this corner using hit rise storage. And you've already seen a ton of the tech we use, right? Like climbing over ledges, using spiked wall climbs right here. Here we use the ceiling to draw us upwards a little bit, get on this wall. And then in a sec, we twirly up here. So we haven't jumped yet. And now we need to get the apple, actually. So you're going to see us mess about with the trash can a tiny bit, and then it boosts us off the ground. And now we're actually going to use the trash can again to fill up super. And then we are going to hit rise storage again to get around that corner to get the apple. And now that we've got the apple, the rest of the level is relatively easy. So that's concrete in 0, which is... Alright. I'm kind of dumb. Alright. I just realized muting Discord means muting you, so you were muted for the last, like...
Oh, epic.
Yeah, this is not RTA. I have a 3-jump RTA, and it could be 2 jumps RTA, but you need to do 2 hit rise storages. But I explained most of the stuff going on here, so if you have anything to add, Fish, sorry, you can add it.
Nah, I was basically agreeing with you. You did a great job. Good job, Bob.
But yeah, this is I know I can under streamer mode, but I forgot and I don't want to go myself in.
Alright. And then we finish up city now.
Yes. Close out city. My encoding overloaded. I apologize.
Yeah. Falling in a nexus like kills computers. We don't know why.
Do apples make these runs more interesting? I would say absolutely. It makes some of them possible, and often if we don't have to use an apple, then we won't anyways, right? Like, if we don't have to use the apple to get 0 jumps, then we won't to show off other things, or because it's just faster. Because typically apples take a while to mess with. Here's a bit of a clever idea to basically do a Forgotten in 0. That's possibly the... I think that's the only real tricky thing from the level. The rest of it's relatively easy for Dust. Yeah, just because Dust Kid.
Doesn't really trivialize any interesting runs.
Because if it did, we would just not use them.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
If we could figure out a way to do it in 0 without an apple, we would do that. But for a level like Ghost Parapets, in particular, that's one level we straight up apple hover over, and it takes 5 jumps to get to the apple. But otherwise, it's really boring, and it's a lot of jumps.
It's like
holding
20
right,
jumps or something, and sadness. Here's me doing basement in real time. Oh yeah, I'm so good.
Oh, baby.
But yeah, this is the...
There's no kid low jump, or what?
This is because the one we had was not a kid low jump, so I just recorded it right off the bat. This level again, relatively easy. So this is the second to last, I think, level, and the last level coming up is Core Temple.
We'll save the best for last, other than difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I guess some history about Core before we get into it. Core, again, I put up I would like to think relatively clever route that had 6 or 7 jumps, with a theoretical 1 or 2 that could be saved. Twirling was found, and we got it eventually down to 2. And then finally with hit rise storage. Yeah, my code overloads here. Sorry about that. It's a little choppy.
But it's not super.
We've done this before also, so you know. It was 7 for a long time, but I knew it could be 6 with a better dash timing. And then we got it down even lower. I think it could have been 5 actually at some point. But then we found twirlies, and then twirlies meant that we could actually do it in 2. And then using upcrapping, we get it down to 0, and I mean, you can just watch it. It's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, it's always... There's also a period of time where we had to farm super.
Yeah, so we needed super to get to 2, because we use a super basically to get enough height somewhere. But or I think it's to refresh air charges actually.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's for
but yeah, so we if you were here for watching at C beforehand, an enemy restores its health if you hit a checkpoint and die. So what you would do is, we would farm it. We would go here, hit this checkpoint, die, hit it twice, go all the way to the left, hit another checkpoint, die, and then back and forth until we have super. But instead we have this now, and we can get across this little...
This is an upcrap. It takes a long time.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble setting that one up. And we actually can get just enough dust here to get super. And then we'll go around to use the super, and you'll see. Yeah, a lot of this was me doing it by hand, so... I mean, I obviously used frame advance for twirlies, but other than that, I kind of just, did the easiest way.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going up over the level, and now we're up here, and that skips having to jump through that tunnel right
exactly.
there.
And
then another upcrap off of the dwarf.
And I have to get super here in a sec again, actually, so I'm farming a tiny bit. And then... So I used to actually have something clever. You could go under where these are and actually jump to get across in one jump with Duskid here. but we don't need to do that anymore with the upcrap. We can do it in
Upcrap,
0.
yeah. It's good to know.
We come over here just to get enough dust for the super.
Yeah.
And then I actually need to go back for that blob. Here is a really difficult dwarf to align. This actually took me like 2 hours.
Forever.
Alright, you can't complain because I did it. I was the one
Yeah.
to do it, but I was complaining the entire time.
No, I worked on that too.
Alright, yeah, okay. Well, whatever. And here's something I actually did in the real-time run at the very start. I found out that you could get out of bounds without jumping, and well, you have to jump to get to the clip. But other than that, you could get up here, and if you wait for the right time, you can super everything from the outside. Alright.
And that's Corn 0, and we have done Scrub Force and 53 jumps.
And then you have to jump once there just to get over
up
here.
to the difficulties. Once again, this is another reward.
We actually have something clever, or so using something similar to what you use for editor glitch, you can actually get to the multiplayer nexus without jumping. But the problem is, when you exit the multiplayer nexus, because of how your nexus position is stored, you won't actually be at the multiplayer door. So
yeah.
It doesn't actually help, but it was very close to being cool.
You have a clip of that. We can show that after.
Yeah.
Maybe.
This is pretty
Sweet.
sick. This is so we jump here, but you can mess around a bit here and save that jump. And then you'll see we'll actually get around like this and do a lot of spiked wall climbs.
Yeah, a lot of spike wall climbs, a lot of dwarfs.
Yep.
And once again, we play Worth here because we want to maximize our jump heights. Like we have to do.
It's actually
jumps here.
yeah, we save a jump actually by death warping there, as opposed to going around the left side, which would take 2.
Yeah.
And then
2 more
here,
jumps, and we farm super off of the large prison.
Yep.
Takes a little bit.
Yeah. And up next I think is Giga, right?
I think.
That's where it works. That was actually in the original task by Bird. Bird worked on it with me in his stream chat for a while, and we got it down pretty low, but we saved a couple recently.
Alright, so Giga's nuts. It has another, like, Dustforce is interesting because large prisms means you can get a super on demand by farming it. So we have a lot more access to supers, but...
Yes. So there's if you know Giga, there's a slope down here, and then a huge climb section. So... yeah, we actually have to jump there, which is unfortunate despite this crazy geometry. But we jump twice here, and then we just try to save our height by doing this. And then Fish saved a jump here sort of recently by having, like, manipulating his height pretty well here.
Really crazy manipulation of hit rise and all sorts of other stuff. Like, you have to get as close as you possibly can to the spike here out of the twirly. Yeah, right here.
And then you get hit rise off
of it. You attach from the wall, get some hit rise, and you're up. You have to super there too, because you need to hit rise to be able to make that gap. It's really close to not working, or working without the super, but we needed to use it. And we can get past here without the super,
so it's not a big deal. And then the rest of it's relatively straightforward. I mean, not like RTA straightforward, but...
Easy for tasks.
Yeah, this is fine. This is no big deal. Then that's Giga in 3, I believe, right? Yeah. Giga in 3.
Yeah.
So here's another level that upcrapping basically... destroyed. This is pretty crazy actually. You can't land on dwarfs very easily when they're negative X value because of null dwarf stuff. I don't really understand it, but so we can't actually save as many jumps as we want, but we save quite a few here. There's actually something a little clever at the end that Fish found before upcrapping. He basically light attacks this to get a certain geometry off that ceiling there, and then you can use it to draw yourself upward.
And we get out. And we farm super off at the bottom of this, and it skips having to jump up the heavy beast.
And that does put in 6. Okay, so here's a funny one. So we had Mega in our spreadsheet as 0 for like literal months, and we were just like, yeah, Mega's in 0, right? And then we went to look for a replay, and we were like, wait,
nobody has done Mega in 0, and we didn't have
so we were like,
at the time.
Yeah, so we were like, oh, let's just go do it. And then we look at the level, and we're like, wait,
this is impossible.
Yeah, so thankfully we found this tech. And you can actually use it to farm super here and save face because that was quite embarrassing.
Yeah, this is the most upcraps in the run, I think, and it's like 8 or 9 of them just to get up a tiny bit to farm that prism. Yep. And we super it, and that's.
And you actually just can't do it in 0 otherwise. You can't go around.
Yeah.
Nice run, Fresh.
Yeah, nice run, Fresh. Good job, Fresh.
Here we have Exa. Funny story, after Exa, I needed to turn around to do the Nexus movement, so I jumped like an idiot, and it was just in the run for the longest time until Fish was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like I actually exported
You had to
it
recompile
twice.
the run. So.
I exported it twice with it in it, and I didn't think twice. Here's Mojo's only task in the run. There's supposed to be another one, but I kind of lost it, I guess. I forgot. It wasn't in the spreadsheet.
Unfortunate.
So yeah,
We can show
but that
it
means
for
it's
the
gonna
run,
be the cleanest probably task in the run. You need man obviously to get a lot of height off ceilings, basically.
Yeah, he has the best soul boost, so we need. Is this like one of the only times we use man?
This is the only time we have to.
Yeah.
He's using a few like of the downhills and stuff by Inda.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true, yeah. Forgot about those.
So this is actually Zeta in 0.
All right, and the big one's coming out. So
here's all right. So note the jump count as we enter Yada. That's very important.
Blessed.
All right. So here's something clever to start with right off the bat. You can do a spiked wall climb right there and do a dash jump to get just enough height to hit the Death Orb. There's a lot of waiting here because replays don't play nice if you die in them for the composer. That's something clever that you've probably seen already in the SS tasks.
Yeah, you can.
And you're
right through that.
So we had a route before, and I think I had 2 extra jumps before the climb. And I came up with some ideas that saved more jumps recently. So the one at the start, and then I came up with this recently as well.
Yeah, this route is genius right here. Yeah. This saved 1 jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna farm super again here.
Casually land on the dwarf, just to get a bit more height.
And then you can almost make that without a jump, but you have to jump at the end. And then we're gonna actually, there's some prisms above the terra section, but we need super later, so we're gonna farm real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna farm those off camera. As you can see, our combo meter is increasing because we're farming super right now.
So that's what, 2 jumps so far, I think?
Yeah, 2 jumps so far. You enter the 69.
Yeah. So, and then we're gonna take the clip to go to Freeman, just because the Petatube, I'm pretty sure, just sucks, and you can't even get into it easily.
Yeah.
So we actually
cannot do without a bunch of jumps.
Yeah, so we have to jump once to get through the clip without dying. And then that is actually the last jump we use before the last checkpoint. Yeah. So it only takes 3 jumps to get to the last checkpoint, which is pretty insane if you think about it. Yeah, so here's us gaining a lot of height. This is similar to Twirly, but it's very lenient actually. You can do this easily real time.
Yeah. Twirlies on soul pools like this are really easy.
They're free. And you might think we want to go over the top.
But no.
But no. Terra is actually, or not Terra, Proto is actually easy to do without jumping.
Yeah, without jumping.
And then we do something clever here. We expose that to climb over it, and then climb over that to hit the checkpoint.
Yeah, and that's the best work.
Yep. And then we just, do the typical stuff here. Some dwarfs and whatnot. And we're at like checkpoint.
Barely make it. Yep, like that.
Yeah. So
and
we just got here's all the jumps in the run basically.
Yeah.
We do what we can. Like Fish does a lot of optimizing during the climb with light attacks, with up crabs and jumps.
Yeah, it's like a culmination of a bunch of tech really fast. We cannot possibly explain it. So
yeah, just you can watch the inputs, watch the jump counter, but it's just very unfortunate what goes on here. Yeah, and there's just not much we can do about it. There were ideas of doing right side, but you get so much hit rise out of the prisms that I think it's not worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So there are a few jumps we're pretty sure are possible to save here, but are extremely difficult. You can dash off the tops of these spiked blocks usually, but like I said, it took me 2 hours to line up just one. So there's a couple instances where you could do it there, but we opted not to do it at the end. So
yeah, it might be possible with enough fiddling, and we don't really know how it works. So it's kind of gave up for sanity. But that's GG. 91 jumps.
Here's the jump breakdown. So you'll notice that difficult has 36 of them, and most of the hubs are actually relatively small. I can post the let me go ahead and grab the link for this. Where are our DMs? So if you want the stats file, I'm just gonna post it in chat right now. It's gonna be in the description of the video. Here you guys go. But this has the full stats. So you'll see at the bottom, I have a few stats, but you can like come up with more yourself. It has also all the replays and everything. But okay, so 86 jumps for ILs and only 5 used for Nexus movement, which is pretty insane. 80% of the jumps are jumpless, or 80% of the levels are jumpless, and on average, the levels that require jumps use like 5.7, so almost 6 jumps on average for the levels that require jumps. Oh, you can't see my screen. I'm not really sharing the... I could share this, I guess. But you guys can see the link I posted, the Drive document. How can I capture this without exposing my disgusting tabs? Window capture, Chrome. This one? Okay. I don't know how hard that is to see. But yeah, at the bottom we have the stats. You can see we have all the levels, the jump counts, the associated replay. Some comments when we were making this. This is actually the one we worked off of.
Yeah.
The characters are at the side. And then some of them obviously, you know, there are multiple characters possible. So you can see them here. And at the bottom we have a few stats. So the IL total is 86. 60 of the jumps or levels don't need jumps. Here the Nexus movement is required and where they are on total. And then here are just, you know, some rough stats. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the run basically.
Yeah, 62 viewers, chats.
Oh, nice. But yeah, this took a long time to work on. Just kind of over the years optimizing all the levels. Like for a long time, it was, you know, in the 100 somethings, and then through a lot of optimization I worked on over the summer. Yeah, well, we got it down to originally around 115, and then I worked a bunch with Fish, got it down to low 100s, and we obviously wanted to get under the 100 kind of milestone. And very recently, when we found after hit rise, I think after hit rise storage, it was like a couple off.
Yeah,
and then yeah, with upcrapping we got it all the way down to 91 total. Yeah, editing and recording was quite a while as well, but you know, very happy to finally get this done and out because we've been talking about this for such a long time now actually.
When's SSL tasks?